Hi, everyone. We're going to give some time to let some people trickle in. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're going to get started and let just people come in as they feel ready. Welcome to our WREN Past Future webinar. My name is Katie. I'm our Senior Legislative Affairs Associate, and I am joined by the lovely Dr. Amalia Luxardo. Thank you so much for being with us. We are so excited today to talk to you about where we've been, what we're doing now, and where we're going. I'm going to put us over here. We're going to go off camera for a little bit, and then we'll join you back at the end so you can see our beautiful faces. All right. So let's just do some housekeeping really quick. This webinar is being recorded. Chat can only be used by our co-hosts to share important links, contact information, and so forth. Today we're joined by Brianna Myers, Director of Finance, and my good friend and colleague. So if you have any questions, you can submit that in the Q&A button down there at the bottom. There's also captions available. It's located right next to that Q&A button. So with that being said, we're going to get rolling. So just a little bit about Amalia. So Amalia, welcome. You're here. I'm so happy you're here. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I won't read off my bio.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That is there for everyone's leisure and light reading. Thank you all for spending some of your afternoon with us. I'm really excited to share this time with you all. So I'll tell you very briefly a little bit about me. I have been here, for about a year and a half now, and this organization is so critical to what the future of South Carolina really holds for women, girls, and gender expansive folks in the state. I am really thrilled to be here. to be a part of the organization, to be here with you and having this conversation. And just generally really excited. This is not really about me, but here we are. Just generally really excited about talking about where we're going as an organization.
Yeah, we have a lot of great things in the works that we're just so excited to share with you, and just our big ideas moving forward. This is me. Hi, everyone. I'm our Senior Legislative Affairs Associate. I went to the University of South Carolina. I've been involved in state policy for about 7 years, and I'm so happy to be here at WREN. I say all the time, this is my dream job, and this webinar is going to give me a chance to brag about it. So these are our objectives, and I have them real dry. It's who we are, where we've been, what we're doing, where we're going. So let's get started. For those that are not familiar with WREN, I would love to introduce ourselves. WREN is the Women's Rights and Empowerment Network. We are a nonpartisan, nonprofit gender advocacy group. We advocate, educate, research, and convene in community in service to women and girls for a more equitable South Carolina. I have here those 4 pillars. So, advocate, we go out in communities and to legislators to advocate for our policies. We educate, things like this, right, where you come to webinars and we can teach you. This time we're teaching you about us. But we have been teaching about our policy areas. We just finished our summer webinar series, and we had lovely people from the community. We also research. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the research that we've been doing and when we're going to get to share it with you. And then finally convene, going out into communities and, like I said, connecting with our partners to help accomplish other parts of this mission. And that actually brings us to our legislative priorities. So it focuses on 2 pillars. We have economic justice, and we have reproductive freedom. And under those umbrellas, economic justice is childcare, paid family leave, and workplace non-discrimination, and reproductive freedom, protecting access to abortion, IVF, and improving dual and lactation services. Amalia, why do you think these 2 priority areas are so important for South Carolina?
That is a really good question. So I know we've got some context up here, but I'll give you my version of that. So economic justice to us means making sure that people can find good jobs, they earn fair wages, and really build long-term sustainability for their families. Reproductive ensures that people can make their own healthcare decisions and plan their futures on their own terms. You're talking about a state here in South Carolina with, we're among the top 3 or 4 states, I believe, with the highest maternal mortality rates in the entire country. And access to care really depends on where you live, down to the zip code. And we've talked about this ad nauseum, particularly in the last several weeks, that protecting reproductive freedom is quite literally a matter of life and death. And so when we talk about these 2 priorities, we really have to talk about them in a way that they're deeply connected, because they're so essential for our future. There are too many families in our state that are struggling to make ends meet. And then if you compound that with the lack of access to healthcare services, you're only further driving them into poverty. And so one really is so deeply connected with the other, and that's why it's so important for us.
Absolutely, yeah. You cannot talk about economic justice without addressing reproductive freedom and vice versa. And how do you think these efforts have been impacted by your leadership? Because you got here last year, yeah?
Yes, so February of 24. I will say, I appreciate all of the accolades. This has been a long-running engine for a really long time, and I want to recognize the staff that have been here, that have been tenured here for a really long time. They were really carrying the load for quite some time, and because of their efforts and really our collective leadership, we were able to end the sales tax on period products, which is a major menstrual equity victory. We're really excited about that. We secured the confirmation that families experiencing stillbirth are eligible for paid leave, also really important. One of the things that I said many times over when folks were asking me for quotes is a birth is a birth. A birth is a birth is a birth, right? We extended access to free school meals in partnership with Holzfire so that more students can learn and go without being hungry. And just as importantly, as we've done year over year, we've mobilized together to stop abortion bans from moving forward that, as we all know, would threaten people's health and autonomy.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been a great 2 years. I started in December of last year, so I'm coming up on a year. And even in that short time, it's been very motivating to see what we can do, and we work with the community and with our partners and with all of you here and all of you watching this recording later, and of course with Amalia at our home. So we're going to kind of talk about where we have been, which we sort of touched on here, right? We're not going to spend too much time in the past because we got to move forward, right? But I do want to talk about our recent wins for this year. So as Amalia mentioned, we got the Attorney General's opinion confirming stillbirth leave. And then we also worked with Holzfire for the free school meals. So I have up here also our you can find this lovely graphic on our website. I believe we're in the process of updating it because it ends with Amalia.
Yes.
And
but it begins with me.
Yeah. So this is a great outline. Like Amalia said, we thank this organization, the people who started at the beginning in 2016, 9 years ago. I cannot believe 2016 was 9 years ago. So getting, lost my train of thought, sorry guys, but yes, all these wins are not possible without their hard work and dedication. But Amalia, looking at this past year, how do you feel about the progress we've made, and how do we keep moving forward?
Yes, and so speaking of, we do have one of our founding board members here joining us today, which I'm really excited to have her here. Jenna, thank you for joining us today. And I also want to say this is really comical. I am so glad that we are off camera because the both of us talk a lot with our hands. And so basically you would see flailing hands.
Yeah.
Quite a bit here.
Yeah. It'd be distracting.
Yeah. So how do we feel about the progress? You know, I'm really proud about what we've done. I feel continually recommitted. I feel continually inspired. Every single win, big or small, really represents change for South Carolinians. I think there is this fallacy that despite us actually having tangible legislative wins, that it must be the legislative win in order for it to be the win. But we have to remember that the wins also are when people show up, and people have been showing up, when people are testifying, when people are sharing their stories, when people are holding their lawmakers accountable. Those are all wins too, and so important. And you know, for us to keep moving forward, I think we have to keep growing our network. We have to really lean in and center the voices of the individuals that are most impacted, and turn advocacy into long-term sustained power.
Right. I completely agree. I think it's easy to get caught up in the, oh man, you know, we didn't pass X amount of bills or what have you. But the getting everybody together, hearing everybody is just as important, and just having these conversations, sharing something on social media, that's incredible power too. But I'm excited to talk about how we are going to keep being community oriented. So I'm going to start moving us forward. So what are we doing now? Actually, we're still kind of in the present. We're not moving. They're connected, right? So I want to talk about this Status of Women and Girls in South Carolina report. Something I'm so excited about for a lot of reasons. It's our signature research initiative. It provides a comprehensive look in key areas, so maternal infant health, access to care, economic well-being, and wage equity. So under that, you'll have things like housing, food insecurity, and childcare. So we do it, we have a full state report, and then we also went in and did county by county. So you can look at the state in general, and then you can pull up your specific county. And a lot of data for this, a lot of very fascinating data from a lot of incredible sources. What surprised you the most, Amalia?
Do you know, I knew we had work to do, but we have work to do,
Right. Yeah.
right? I think that's the depth of the economic instability in our state was really mind blowing for me. I'm a numbers gal, and so I'm going to just shoot off some stats here. 1 in 3 households can't afford basic needs, including childcare, housing, and food. That's terrible.
Staggering.
Black and brown women are overrepresented in low wage jobs. And it really demonstrates how that inequity compounds across multiple generations. And so you're not just talking about mom, but you're also talking about daughter and potentially how that impacts granddaughter. And, I'm using our gender lens here because we are a women's organization. I was also really struck by the maternal health data. I mentioned it earlier. We are either third or fourth in the nation, and I'm going to check that so that I can have that number really down as far as maternal mortality goes. And Black women in South Carolina are nearly 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes. And so, again, really staggering information here. However, I'm still really glad that we've done this work because now we're able to really share this disaggregated information to folks so that we have a really solid picture of what South Carolina looks like now and what we can do in order to improve upon what's happening today.
Yeah, I too enjoy numbers. You enjoy them probably a little more than I do, but I think this report is such a lovely in the way that looking at some of the data can be, but it's a great starting point to see like this is where we're at, and then also just being able to go out in communities and see what their actual experiences are behind those numbers and how we can move forward with them along with the research. Which brings us to, we're hosting a community event series with this. We're not just going to release it and go, all right, check our website, we'll see you later. We're going to do a community event series. This is going to be an opportunity to gather in communities to shape WREN's future. There's a kickoff event next week on the 23rd. It's from 6 to 8:30. So we want people in these communities to come out and chat with us about their experiences, about feedback on the report, about any thoughts you might have. I'm excited about this. Are you excited about this?
Yeah, I'm thrilled. And Brianna just dropped the link into the chat so that you all have that information. I do believe it's the registration link. It is capped. And so for those of you that haven't had a chance to register, I would do that sooner rather than later because we are getting really, really close to capacity. And I strongly encourage you that if this is something of interest whatsoever, whether it's for work or personal, or you yourself are looking into, how to do advocacy for issues that you're particularly interested in, this is a really nice opportunity for you to have this information at no cost to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're not charging anybody for this information. This is really for the general public, for the public good, and we're just thrilled to be able to have this available to folks across the state.
Absolutely. It's going to be
Amalia, Katie.
Yeah. What's up?
Hey, so we have a question in the chat that kind of relates to the status of women and girls. Ms. Mary wants to know if within the report, is there going to be a discussion about accessibility of healthcare services within the report?
Yes, there is an accessibility section within the maternal and infant care section. It'll break down also within each county. It'll say whether it's a maternity care desert and approximately how many hospitals provide maternity care in that area. And then the statewide report will have comprehensive pieces.
And then one other question they want to know, is there going to be other community events outside of the October 23rd event?
Yes, we do. So our Aisha, our Senior Partnership and Engagement Queen is here.
Yeah, I see you in the chat, girl, or the
joined us.
the attendees.
And so we've got in our line of sight over the next several months, 10 community events. And that is our baseline. If for whatever reason we don't make it out to your community, please let us know. We will make plans and ensure that your local city or county, certainly sees the WREN folks out there. We want to make sure that we are as accessible as possible. We come to you. These community events will be, again, at no cost to the community at large. And so we're just, yes. So the short answer is yes, we will be out and about for the next several months. And the other thing that I will say, this information will be available both in English and in Spanish. And we are also working with partner organizations to do the community events both in English and in Spanish. So that's something to look out for as well.
It's going to be great. We're really excited. We have a lot of stuff in the works that we're going to share with you. So between the report itself and then these community events, right? If you could see one major change as a result of this report, what would it be?
I would love to see a South Carolina where your zip code doesn't determine your accessibility to your most basic needs. And so your zip code won't determine whether you have access to safety, whether you have access to stability, or whether you have access to care. It means that at large, we're going to have real investments in childcare, in maternal health, and in housing. What we really would like to see, and of course, this is the dream of dreams, and it takes all of us. We want to ensure that every family in every community has what they need to thrive. We don't want people in survival mode.
Right. Yes. Right. I mean, it shouldn't matter where you live, and that's really why we have all the county reports too, so we can kind of see what people are working with and how we can help and chat with the community about it. So we're going to move a little bit to our legislative priorities this year. So we talked about economic justice, the subcategory here, the child care, family support. We have 4 bills that we're putting our full weight behind here. That's 47, which is child care. That's what you see, this beautiful picture from that first hearing. We love this picture. There's also 3645 that has paid family leave. And then Senate bills 10 and 11 are basically a broken up version of the 3645. Amalia, why would you say childcare / paid family leave? Why is that so important?
So high quality, I was going to preamble that with something and I just have to get to it, right?
Yeah.
High quality, affordable childcare is critical for folks to participate in the workforce. We talk about it with a gender lens as women because in large part, history has taught us and current trends continue to demonstrate that when families have children, in large part, it's a single parent household and that parent is mom. Or when you are a dual household, it's mom the one that has stayed behind. And so that's why we talk about it in this way, that it's critical for women to participate fully in the workforce.
Absolutely.
Writ large, it's critical so that parents can fully participate in the workforce, correct?
Yeah.
And so we do this here because we know that, again, history and current trends continue to demonstrate that mom is the one that stays behind with kiddo. And it's just so important. Our state is losing so much money by not having women participate in the workforce when they have to stay behind and take care of kiddo. And paid family leave really ensures that people can take care of themselves or their loved ones without risking their jobs, right?
Right.
I can't even imagine what that would have been like, because I have 3 kiddos. If I had to, you know, figure things out shortly after I gave birth and not have real protections for my job to be safe. And so not just that, but to also have the resources in order
Right.
for me to actually be at home and be able to take care of my newborn children. Really, those two things are so essential for a healthy and equitable economy.
Right. So I don't have children, so it's been very interesting to me to learn about how the connection to childcare bleeds into everything, right? I mean, our last webinar was our diaper need webinar, and I didn't know that you had to have diapers to go to daycare or childcare facilities. So then, if you can't afford diapers and you can't afford childcare, like it's just such a big overarching issue. And I have had a good time learning. Like, you know, it's interesting to learn about. And we definitely need to make sure families have the support they need to take care of themselves and their families.
Yep.
So under this economic justice umbrella, we have anti-discrimination legislation that we're behind. So I want to start with the Crown Act. That's 584. It was released a little bit towards the end of session, so we're excited about that. And then, of course, the Uniform Anti-Discrimination Act and just anti-discrimination. Those are the two House bills. Amalia, kind of a similar question. Why is legislation like this important?
You know, everyone, and I know that it's here, but I'm gonna verbally articulate it anyway. Everyone deserves an environment that's free from discrimination and harassment. You know, we want to be able, to the extent that we possibly can, wake up in the morning and want to come to work and not worry about our physical safety or our mental health safety.
Yeah.
And I think non-discrimination legislation really helps in shaping all of that. What we think it's important that we strengthen workplaces protections to ensure that women, particularly women of color, are treated fairly, paid equitably, and safe at work.
Yeah, definitely important. And I realized I didn't, you know, it says Crown Act here. I want to make sure I define what the Crown Act is. It is protection from discrimination for natural hairstyles and protective styles. So like Amalia said, like being able to come to work as your authentic self is so important, and you should never be punished for that.
Yep.
We're going to move into our other pillar here, reproductive freedom, IVF and maternal support. We have a couple bills here. The set of three kind of do the same thing. It's an In Vitro Fertilization Act, Protection Act. Then we have 3108, which is insurance coverage and reimbursement for doulas. In a similar vein, we have Senate Bill 42, which is insurance coverage for lactation and doula services. So we've pulled in lactation support, and I'm going to plug our webinar on lactation support with the wonderful Kristen Leonard. It's on our not Facebook. Oh my goodness, it's on our YouTube page. On our YouTube page, if you would like to check that out. And then also, I want to call out 477. This is the Pharmacy Access Act. It's a fix. So the Pharmacy Access Act was passed beforehand, but there was a misinterpretation with some of the technical language. So we are fixing that now so it can be implemented fully, and you can get contraceptives from your pharmacist. So why are we focusing on this type of legislation?
So this is, you know, as you mentioned, this is part of our reproductive freedom, and we want to ensure that we are protecting the right for families to have children, no matter what that looks like, right?
Yeah.
We also want to make sure that families have access to affordable, quality maternal care. And that also includes doulas and lactation support. And so these policies holistically are about giving families choices, letting them have their dignity and care throughout every stage.
Absolutely. Yeah. Making sure that they have all the resources to, again, take care of themselves, take care of their families, and have those families, or not have those families, right, with access to contraception, however they would like. So we're gonna shift again to the thing that's been on everyone's minds for the past month, and ours probably usually, right? So we're going to talk about opposing abortion bans. There are two abortion bans, one in the House, one in the Senate. The House had one hearing in March. That you see that picture there of the Blot building with that big line out the door. It was an incredible day. And also here's the overflow room from that day. So it did not receive a vote and did not yet not move forward, and we hope it stays that way. There's Senate Bill 323, which had its hearing at the first of the month. Again, a very big day. I just want to thank everyone who came out to testify, came out to be at the rally, to make the bracelets with PSAF, and hold your signs and have conversations with each other. It always humbles me to see, and it powers me to keep going. In this fight, we're all in it together. And then I do also want to make sure we mention 3537. This bill would likely receive a hearing in January, so we want to put that on your radar here. Amalia, let's talk about our efforts here. What stood out to you?
So here's what I tell you what stood out to me, and I guess maybe didn't surprise me, that we heard about the hearing in the middle of the night.
Right.
There was no big public announcement or anything like that. It was incredibly inconspicuous, and so of course, there were a few of us that were pending and waiting, and we got to work immediately. It's also in the middle of the night.
Right.
And so from the moment we heard about the hearing and that it was announced, we really moved quickly to inform and educate the public. It's just so important to us that you all here have all of the information that you need, so that you do stay well informed and that you take action accordingly. We wanted to make sure and continue to want to ensure that people understand what the bill does, why it matters, how folks can take action. We've continued to provide tools, resources, really clear, concise information, so that everyone can utilize their voice with real confidence. And it works.
Yeah.
Right. We really packed up that room. I know that we had other partner organizations join us that day. I mean, several hundred people. I heard that there was one bus, maybe not one, but perhaps several of folks coming from all over South Carolina. There was one that was a bus of 400 people. I don't know of a bus that fits 400 people, but that was what I heard.
Sure. Yeah.
So several community members came out and showed up in really powerful ways to testify, continuing to call legislators, continuing to share their stories. If you follow us on social media, you'll see that we have stories come up pretty frequently. And because of that collective effort, lawmakers did not vote on the bill, which again, I want to highlight is a huge win.
Absolutely.
Huge win. We're going to continue to keep everyone informed, and we're going to continue to stay ready, right? That is the best that we can do, knowing that this fight isn't over. And I know that together, all of us collectively, not just WREN, but South Carolinians at large, from what we've seen, are making it really clear that we're not going to be silenced on the issues that impact our health and our freedom and that are so deeply important to us.
Yes, it was I was getting texts from people who were signing up to testify, and for those who don't know, when you signed up to testify, you were assigned a number, and by the end of this, people were getting like number 400. So the way that the community came out and made their voice heard on 323, and of course on 3457, was just incredible to see, and just so important. And we're going to keep you in the loop, like I said, at the end of 323, the hearing rather. They did say they were going to have a second meeting. We don't know when that'll be yet, but as soon as we do, you will. All right.
Yeah, and I want to just add here, yes, we will inform you. Continue, please. I urge you, and we're going to continue to urge all of our advocates and the folks within our network to keep the pressure on. Make sure you're contacting your senators. Make sure you're sharing your stories. Stay connected with us so that once we get the news, you hear that first. One of the things that I heard a lot from the community was, if it wasn't for your email, if it wasn't for your social media posts, I wouldn't have known where to go, where to park, where to stand, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's all thanks to Katie here, that helped really have that concise data, and our communications team really helped get all of that out. And so just stay connected with us, and make sure that you're keeping that pressure on.
Absolutely. Yeah. We don't want the senators to think that this is over yet and that we're just going to be quiet now, right? So keep that pressure on. And so you kind of talked about this. So moving forward, right, we're going to keep defending. We're going to keep mobilizing. Anything to add on that?
I think that the one thing that I'll add there is that we've really demonstrated the power of collective action. And I just want to reiterate that, as an organization, we are always at the ready, even in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And as Katie mentioned, we understand that there is a hearing coming. We don't know when that is. But if hopefully you lose a little less sleep at night knowing that there's an organization ready.
Yeah.
Right.
We're ready. And excited and happy to do the work alongside the community, you, and our lovely comms team, and Aisha and Brianna. I want to make sure, and everyone else that's on here. Yes. So all that to say, that's where we've been. That's what we're working on right now.
Yep.
Where are we headed? Like, how are we feeling about this upcoming legislative session?
I think I mentioned this before. I'm really hopeful. I think we've got, thanks to people like you, thanks to the staff that we have, I'm just really hopeful. And I'm also really determined. We know that there are a lot of challenges headed our way. We've been under attack for quite some time now.
It was 9-year anniversary.
Yeah. But I think we've built, as an organization, we've really built a strong foundation of advocacy and of partnership, not just with community members at large, but with other organizations as well. And our priorities will continue to guide everything that we do. We're focused.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're focused. And again, I'll say that we're ready. And so I'm feeling, despite what lies ahead, I'm feeling really good about things.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I would say the same. I'm looking forward to what opportunities and challenges come next year. I'm looking forward to working with partners on the issues that matter. And I'm also looking forward to keeping everyone updated on every step of the way. I love writing the newsletters. So you'll be getting weekly emails from me before you know it. What are you, so we talked about like how you're feeling. What do you expect?
I expect to continue to be challenged. And that's probably putting it lightly. We can expect to get more attacks on reproductive freedom. We're going to stay ready to mobilize, to defend access to care. We are also, we have lived on the defensive line for a really long time. And, unfortunately, we're going to have to stay in that space as it relates to reproductive freedom. But we are also pushing forward proactive, positive legislation is what I like to call it, right? We're pushing forward positive legislation on childcare, on paid family leave, on workplace equity, on maternal health, all of those things that really strengthen families and build, again, long-term economic stability for the state. We've got this approach, right? It has to be twofold. We have to resist the harmful legislation and advance bold, community-driven solutions. We're really coming into this session prepared. I think more united than ever, despite what the media tells us. And more determined than ever to make sure that our lawmakers hear directly, not just from us, but from everyone that's impacted by these policies.
Right. Speaking of hearing from everyone, we're going on the road. Remember, we're talking status of women and girls. We're hitting the road.
That's right.
Yeah, we're hitting the road. So you kind of touched on it with that answer, but why is it so important to take this on the road, to go to those communities directly?
You know, as a numbers gal, I love data so much, but I also know that data isn't enough, right? We want to make sure that the data that we're presenting to the community is vetted by the lived experience of individuals. Numbers tell part of the story, but we need to hear directly from the people, again, who are living those experiences. And so that's why we're taking the status of women and girls on the road. We talked a little bit about that earlier. We already had the question, are you coming down our way? And the answer is yes. And I'm so excited to be bringing the information to several communities to listen to how it reflects your lived experiences and to learn what matters most to you all. Now, we all know here that I want to say in confidence, right, that we're values aligned, the people that are here, but I would love to be able to hear that in person. And what else can we impact together?
What are we missing?
And this community feedback will really help shape our future policy priorities and ensure that as we make those changes, they're really grounded on what South Carolinians are needing, right? My experience with childcare is not going to be the same experience as Brianna's, and we really need to talk about why that experience is different and where we can bridge that gap as an organization. And so I'm just thrilled about the opportunity of being able to continue the relationships with community members that have historically been engaged, that haven't engaged with us before, that I personally will be able to speak to in Spanish as well, right? And engaging, lots of different communities, and again, vetting that information with lived experience.
It's gonna be great. I'm so excited to go out and actually meet people that haven't heard of us and see how we can help and what their priorities are. And just hear about the different perspectives in different counties. So I've said this 100 times about this report, but I'm very excited. I love it so much.
Me too.
Any big plans for 10 next year?
Oh gosh,
I know.
We do have big plans. We are turning 10 next year, y'all. I am not gonna let the cat out of the bag today.
Oh.
But what I will say is this: as I'm flailing my hands all over the place,
you can't see them. Trust me, they're there.
We are going to have a big event next fall that I am really, really excited about. We're going to be coming together, celebrate progress, build what's next together. We're going to have panels and breakout sessions and performances.
Good food.
And good food. Yes, always good food. That is one of my love languages. And so always and forever good food. The only thing I will say, It is going to be in Charleston.
Okay.
And so I'm very excited about heading to the Low Country and doing something big.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a time and a good time. So I'm going to actually book a hotel when this is over for me to be there.
Smart.
Yeah. You know how Charleston can get. So a lot of great stuff in the works, and I'm so excited to be with this organization and with this community. And I can't wait to see what we do next together. So let's talk a little bit about, we always put this, how you can help, right? Well, you guys are doing one thing already, right? You're joining trainings, you're here with a webinar or letter writing workshops to build your advocacy skills. My lovely colleague, Aisha Jones, does a great Advocacy 101 workshop. She's a rock star, and she's so community driven. She wants to talk to everybody, and she's so good at it. And she would love to talk to your group. And she's like probably listening to me talk about her. Also, want to talk about our Action Center, where you can take quick actions. So all you have to do is put in your address, and it will fill in your legislators for you on the particular bill or topic area that you are that is in that action center. So I hope you'll take action on all of our stuff, but if there's something that feels particularly important to you, obviously 323 I want to prioritize.
Yes. And I do want to say, it always says in our emails, the actions only take 2 minutes. I can confirm from feedback that they indeed take 2 minutes or less.
I had received such, I had the privilege of being at the Emerge event with Harriet Hancock Center, and so many people were like, it was easy, I just sent it right off. So we're very proud of that. And if you do experience any issues, let us know, and we'll troubleshoot it with you. And I cannot stress enough the importance of sharing your story. Storytelling is the greatest form of advocacy. We have a great storyteller initiative on our website where you can submit your story if you're willing and wanting to share it with us, with everybody, with whoever you're comfortable with, right? And bring a friend to our cool events for especially the Day of Women and Girls. And then also, as Amalia has been saying, get ready, because we're ready, and we are ready on behalf of you, but we would like you to be ready too.
Yes. And Brianna has been dropping all of those links for you all.
And thank you, Brianna.
Yes.
And so, ladies, I did drop some of those links in there for everyone, but I want to kind of stop here and make sure we acknowledge some of the questions that have been dropped in our Q&A sections before we kind of wrap up and end for in the webinar. We had one a little while ago from an attendee that wanted to know specifically how WREN is planning to stay nonpartisan with major priorities under fire from the conservative legislators.
That is a really good question. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of issues, including access to holistic healthcare, that have been politicized when historically they perhaps weren't as politicized as they are now. I will say that our perspective is wanting to ensure that we stay on the right side of history. We know what our priorities are, and our priorities are, our vision is to really liberate women and girls here in South Carolina so that they're able to determine their own future. And part of that is having access to healthcare holistically, including having access to abortion. As a C3 organization, and perhaps this is getting really technical and into the weeds, there is a certain percentage of our work that we are allowed to allocate to issue-specific work. And so, we are able to do that through those exceptions, and our C3 status would not be implicated. And so I don't know if that head-on answers that question, but that is is our goal is to ensure that we stay within the realm of our mission, to ensure that we continue to do work that gets us to that vision. I'd love to work myself out of a job one day,
Right.
and ensure that we are prioritizing, the holistic rights of women and girls. And I do want to add that means answering the call of community.
Yeah.
And right now, community is telling us that bills like Senate Bill 323 is not the way to go.
Right.
And so that's how we're going to continue to lean into our work.
We're going to stay mission focused.
Yes.
And people focused.
Yes. Great question.
Great question. Oh, you said there was another one, Bree?
Sorry, I had myself muted. Yes, there's one more. If Alicia wants to know if they can't publicly support due to their job or their title, can they anonymously submit a story through the Storyteller Initiative?
Yes, we've had several people for very different reasons, across the board that have submitted their story, and we just have anonymous. And so I haven't seen the back end of that form for quite some time. But if it requires you to put your name, just put the note in there that you want to remain anonymous. Otherwise, I'm sure that you can just put in anonymous, and that is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do not need to share your name to share your story with us.
Correct.
Thank you for that question. It's a great question. Which, So does, are there any other questions? Anyone else? Speak now, forever hold your peace. You can email us. You can email me. Yes.
We've got a few minutes left if anybody else has any other questions.
Yeah. Looks like
Allison wants to make sure you guys know not to forget York County and Rock Hill when you guys go out and do the status of women and girls reporting.
Do not worry. Do not worry. Rock Hill is on our list.
We got you, Allison. And awesome.
That's all I have in my Q&A section.
Thanks, Brianna.
Thank you, Brianna. All right, everyone. That's going to be our webinar today. Thank you again so much for being here with us. Thank you, Amalia, for sitting with me and chatting with me about this place we get to work together. So, all right, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and keep taking care of yourself. Thanks.
Bye. Have a great afternoon.